Skip steps causing your overhangs to be over 9,000. My buddy Pooch had a bit of a laser fire, and I myself had a laser fail as well. All this and more, PrintFixFriday, episode 54. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here and you love 3D printing, 3D scanning, and all the fun stuff, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed because we covered that multiple times per week. But this is our print fail fixing series, the longest weekly series on YouTube for this kind of thing. Remember, if you want to get your fails featured in these episodes, make sure to use the hashtag PrintFix and tag us on all the social medias so I can see it. I watch Twitter often, so you can always slide into them DMs as well. We got a lot of fun fails for you, but I know the glossaries aren't working a ton for everyone, so we're gonna skip it this time. Let's just jump right into fixing those fails. First, we're gonna start with a follow-up from last week. We were working with one of our Patreon supporters, Train HXIII, which I'm assuming is Train H13, who was working on a sword for their daughter. This was the piece they ended up printing, and looks like we could probably still tune it ever so slightly, but I'm glad to see the entire thing came out. Apparently, it's a little too beefy for her, so there might be some adjustments and reprints to be made. But it is always nice when we get to see updates of successful prints. So if you do get your parts featured on PrintFixFriday, make sure to send us updates. Let me know if my tips actually worked. We'll go from there. And also, I'm filming this on the 21st of September, so you still get Earth, Wind, and Fire references. Deal with it. Help! PLA Plus 210 nozzle, 60-degree bed, 30mm speed, and 20 infill. I would like to point out we have no idea what printer it is. And if you're wondering why I'm gonna start to be a little more nitpicky on it, we actually recently did a video all about how to ask for help and how to get help in 3D printing. This is what this stuff is designed for, right? And if you're gonna ask on a subreddit like Fix My Print, it is good to include all of the things that I talked about, or as many as you possibly can, because it will assist in getting better help faster. This one, it got pretty crazy. It's got 114 comments right now, and I have to agree, right? Overhang 1000. Honestly, it clearly it's a loose belt, or the belt is skipping on the pulleys, so go look at tightening your belts or tighten the grub screw on your pulley. But damn, that's some good overhang. And the reason for this is that it's not moving very much every single time. I would also check to make sure that your cable for your bed, or your cables in general, aren't binding somehow. We find that if the bed cable falls and the printer bed can run into it between the back plate of the printer and your print bed, it will skip steps. And you can see it's skipping the same amount every single layer. But I will give them credit, it ends up looking really good. Absolutely no clue what printer this is. Now, I can make some assumptions and say this is a PEI flex plate. It does look like one that might be from a Prusa, but yeah, reasonably speaking, it's a belt or a pulley problem. Go take a look at those. Tighten up your belts, make sure your grub screws are tight, you'll be good to go. And, oh yeah, make sure your cables are out of the way. Brand new Anycubic Kobra Plus. Here are the settings I got from someone online, as there isn't too many things on the Kobra Plus that I can find at least. Any help would be appreciated. Only print that hasn't been awful, didn't have any bridging, but still didn't have great layers. Boy, there is no retraction. That's temperature you're using. All right, first thing, initial layer height, just make it 0.2. It's consistent. 0.16 is fine. It's a little close, but it's fine. Let's look at your print speeds. Might be a little bit fast, but so far we're okay. Nothing to be immediately concerned about. Retraction is set to 4, but it clearly doesn't have any retraction. Like, there is no retraction going on here. And do we know temp? Do we see temp in any of these photos? No, we don't. So temp would be important to know here, just so we can get an idea. I don't think immediately that it's wet filament, but this part is mildly suspect, and I don't know, because that does look a little damp. Also, I'm pretty sure that's a Glock mag. Whatever. So let's leave a comment, and we'll see if we get anything back. Now, this is something to mention where we deal with printers that have very little support from manufacturers. Now, I don't know, honestly, how much support there is or isn't for the Anycubic Kobra Plus. But I am worried. This is like, again, it's an education gap that we have in this industry where if Anycubic is not going to provide some help to newbies, then in my opinion, it's not a good first printer. It's why I like Prusa. They actually provide legitimately decent assistance to newbies. It's what I want to see. It's what we should see. And it's what we will see coming soon on the Making Awesome Academy. The first classes that we're going to have are strictly around product development and getting inventions to market. But we will eventually soon, of course, TM, be having classes on beginner 3D printing, intermediate 3D printing, advanced 3D printing, and some other classes, of which we will cover some of it on the channel, but way more in depth behind a paywall on the Making Awesome Academy, because I got bills to pay. And speaking of, I guess I should mention our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. The pros at 3D Musketeers are here to help you with all of your prototyping needs, be it 3D printing, 3D scanning, laser cutting, or CNC milling. Work with professionals that know how to talk to you, whether you are a business, an individual, whether you know what microns are, or you speak in, inches. I'm sorry. But we can absolutely help you no matter where you come from, no matter what your background might be. We have over 40 years of combined experience in this industry, with myself over a decade working to make people like Snoop Dogg and companies like the Smithsonian have their wildest dreams imagined in reality. That's a pretty cool thing to say. We want to help you. So if there's anything that we can do to help you, your company, whatever it might be, you can reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. Links will be in that description down below. But if you don't have any products, totally fine. And you do want to kick a couple of bucks to that creator fund, Patreon, YouTube channel members, links in the description. You know where they're at. Go down there, click them. Minimum $1 a month. Help us out. It goes a long way to helping content like this be possible multiple times a week as we are doing it. And of course, money is not required. We love your support in any way that we can. So a like, subscribe, and hey, a share. It'll go a long way to making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, just like Greenfield here, who is being a wonderful album holder. Thank you, Greenfield. Thank you. Help! I can't print overhangs. Have you tried cooling it? Let's take a look. Help! I recently upgraded my extruder and my hot end on my Voxelab. It's a Kila, not a Kile, but fine. From the stock Bowden tube to a direct drive, the BQ-H2, which I might have a BQ-H2 with some fanciness on its way. So get subscribed if you want to see me take a look at that to solve some under extrusion issues that they were fighting with. After the upgrade, the printers seem to be printing better than ever, except for overhangs. They've been using this overhang and bridge test to work out the kinks, but haven't gotten anywhere. They've tried lowering the temp, lowering the flow rate, double checking the E-steps per millimeter, and they lowered their speed from 60 to 50 for all the tests. We'll put pictures in the comments. We're not seeing anything about cooling. Bro, where's your cooling? What is your cooling? Yeah, you're not cooling it enough. So for bridging, right? Bridging is one of those troublesome ones, right? If you don't have a good setup for your cooling fans, you're gonna bridge like crap no matter what. And I don't know what the cooling fan is for the BQ-H2. So that's the first thing I would look at, is what is your cooling? Is your cooling actually getting to your part? You want the air to be blowing basically right at the tip of your nozzle. And if it's not, look at getting a different fan duct. And while you're at it, upgrade the fan to a blower style fan, because you can always turn the fan down. You cannot go over 100% by and large, but you can always turn it down. Might I recommend a Hero Me setup if that is something that you're willing to go through. You added a bunch of mass on there already, so maybe a Hero Me setup might be good. And of course, we recently interviewed Andy from Hero Me, or now the new Hero Me project. We'll card to that episode of the podcast so you guys can take a look. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. We definitely need to dial it in. What I'm not seeing are speeds for your bridging. So for bridging, I normally run like a 25 or 30 millimeter per second fan at 100%. We get pretty damn good bridges at the end of it. But yeah, I would like to know what speeds that you're using. The flow rate, I don't think is gonna do it. It looks like you're actually extruding okay, because where we see it, printing fine? It looks fine to me. So it's my personal opinion. Gonna obviously have to follow up with this. Hopefully we get it sorted. This one comes from the Maker Deck Discord by the way of Midnight Smith. We got an Ice Dragon here that's a little bit shifty, and it came off the Bambu X1 Carbon with the fancy AMS. That's how we have all these material colors. And I'll say, I've seen some great prints out of these Bambu Lab printers, and I am slowly warming up to them. But again, they're still on probation for me, so we're gonna give it some time, because failures like this is the kind of stuff that bothers me, because we don't know how it happened. And this is one of the most common failures on the Bambu. According to the poster, it did not clear the poop chute, so it built up and caused a skip. It is one of the massive downfalls, in my opinion, to the Bambu Lab printer, is the fact that it purges out the back of the printer, and there really is no easy way for you to collect it other than like a printed bucket or something. And I've joked that you could use something like a shop vac that is activated by G-code when the thing does go to purge, but boy howdy, that would get loud very quickly. And that's the problem that I have with machines that do purging like the Bambu Lab does. And how do you fix this? You really gotta monitor it a little bit better. You gotta make sure that your wipe systems are clean and that yours have your purge set appropriately. Now, I'm assuming they had their purge relatively high because you're going from a bright red to a dark blue. That means you gotta have a pretty decent amount of purge to get things to function. But the Bambu Lab is just a printer that I don't have experience with. But I do wanna highlight failures when they do occur, because this is one that I have seen multiple times from multiple people. And this goes from people that I expect them to know what they're doing, all the way to people that I've never heard of before that are also running into this issue. So it seems like one of the weak spots for the Bambu right now is that poop chute. Maybe we can add some fiber. If you got a bad poop chute, I'm told fiber's the answer. Oh boy. This one. Don't forget about the nozzle more in comments. By the way, look at how freaking thin-walled this nozzle is. God, I hate MK8 nozzles. They have been printing with glow-in-the-dark PLA. And I've talked about this before. Glow-in-the-dark PLA is abrasive. It uses silica as part of the method for it to glow, and it will wear down your nozzles. That is significant, like really significant. And they said that nozzle destruction is noticeable after just 2 10-gram prints. That would not surprise me at all. So far, it's just bed height adjustments. No, it's not. Your flow rate is going to be changing a lot. But I'm going to have to look into hardened steel if I'm going to use up this spool someday. Yes, you will. And here's the deal. People think that stainless and hardened steel nozzles are the same. They are not. Stainless steel is used if you want to do something that might be food grade, where you're doing a print with a material that can be sanitized for some reason. Stainless would mean that because brass contains a small amount of lead, the stainless does not, and it would therefore be reasonably food safe. You must make sure, if you're going to print abrasives, that you get a hardened steel nozzle, or you spring for a diamondback polycrystalline diamond nozzle. And I have covered it in a few videos. We even interviewed the team on our podcast. So we'll card to the diamond nozzle playlist, because you want to have them diamond hands and not be a paper-handed bitch. You feel me? Can I get a like from the Holda gang? I know you're out there, but I do really love these diamond nozzles. They're freaking amazing. They're expensive, but damn, they work good. And I often forget that I have to turn my temperatures down until the print starts to string. That's a me thing though. That's a me thing. So we do have a little more information that they've been getting terrible prints for the last several weeks. Bed adhesion was getting worse and becoming non-existent. That's fair. I spent so much time on settings and bed preparation until I finally noticed the nozzle was looking a little blunt. Changed the nozzle, went back to my normal settings, and now the printer is working great again. Had I noticed this sooner, I could have saved weeks of pain and suffering. You're right, you absolutely could have, but I don't blame you for not checking. If you don't know that glow filaments are abrasive, you don't even think about it. And yeah, it's problematic. And I will say, I hate MK8 nozzles because look at how thin-walled everything is. It's why I prefer the E3D V6 nozzles, because they are considerably thicker right until they neck down, but there's still a lot of material in there. So even if you do happen to accidentally feed some abrasive filament through an E3D brass nozzle, maybe you're clearing a clog or whatever, it won't hurt it too bad. I don't recommend it, obviously, but it will certainly last longer than one of these cheap MK8 nozzles. Ladies and gentlemen, my buddy Pooch from Repkord, former podcast guest, great freaking guy who has his own podcast called Maker That Money. We'll link to it in the description. They do it live every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I love that name. Maker That Money is such a great name for a podcast. He says, cautionary tale, laser cutters are great tools, but you can't take your eye off of them for a second. Only burned for about 20 seconds before it was extinguished, but did enough damage to offline the machine for 1 to 2 days while I diagnose and rerun cooked and electrical air lines. Yeah, laser cutters are f***ing dangerous. Don't mess with laser cutters, even for a little bit. We have been fortunate enough to have only a small fire in our laser, and it was an acrylic fire. Acrylic burns very, very slowly. So when it happened, it wasn't really that big of a deal for me to deal with. Just kind of blew it out and life was good. But speaking of lasers, I've got a problem. My laser is dead. We have an 80 watt CO2 laser, and yeah, it's dead. I cannot get it to fire, and I'll show you guys a video in just a bit, but I ordered a brand new tube along with a bunch of other things because it's just part and parcel of a 6-year-old laser. It's time to order a tube. But the astute of you might notice, she's a little upsetty spaghetti. Amazon decided to drop kick this thing, and whoever decided that this was adequate packing material for a laser tube is out of their bloody freaking mind. So I've got some dangerous wall art. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want me to do, because I have a shattered laser tube. I might try to like pass EL wire through it and just randomly light it up pink when I'm on live streams and stuff on the standing set. But yeah, that's no bueno. No bueno. And look at all the broken glass down there. And oh yeah, that's your corn cover band of the day. Fistfuls of broken glass, because I picked up the box and I instantly knew what happened. And thankfully, Amber was there. I said, hey, do you mind holding the camera? This thing is toast. These laser tubes are expensive, like multiple hundreds of dollars. And the replacement that I bought for this cost me $600 US. Very, very expensive. This is what's going on with my laser.
All right, here's the problem that I'm dealing with. I just did replace the high voltage line of the positive, and I redid the negative. There is my...
Now, I'm going to apologize for it in this video, but I'm going to apologize here as well. It is an absolute disaster around my laser right now because I am working on so many different things, and the laser was a workbench, and now I had to remove the stuff from it. But also, I've been really messing with the wiring. I can tell you that my power supply works just fine because I have unintentionally zapped myself multiple times, and it hurts like the dickens.
Power supply that is about 3 months old. Old one lasted about 5 years. This tube is about 6 years old now, and when I fire it, you can hear that arcing. When we come over, you can see the tube is just, it's having an issue grabbing. And I'm pulling, 18, 19 milliamps. When we look into here, as soon as the tube grabs...
And let me clarify, grabbing means that the tube is actually firing the laser, or it's not arcing anymore, so it's grabbed the arc.
It stops actually producing an arc. I'm wondering if the laser itself is just old. It was working a while ago, and yes, there have been some shorts, and I run this thing sub-ambient. I live in Florida. It's just par for the course. But the thing that's been bothering me is watch the high voltage wires.
If I say the high voltage wires don't matter, it's expected, but it's tough to see on this camera. But basically, when I'm firing the tube, the high voltage wires are moving. That is expected because you're passing a lot of high frequency electricity through it. By the way, if anyone has contacted Cloud Ray, hit me up, because I want Cloud Ray to sponsor a video upgrading this laser. I bought a tube because I needed to, and I have no intention of filming me fixing the laser, but I would like to upgrade it with a nicer tube, a better power supply, a better chiller, as well as mirrors and lenses and all the fun stuff, and do a series on lasers. So if you guys have anyone over at CloudRay, or hey CloudRay, hopefully you're getting tagged on social media, hit me up. I sent you an email, never heard back. You said on WhatsApp you'd email me back, and you never did. We should be friends, because Amazon sucks to buy laser tubes from, and I unfortunately don't have the time to wait to get one from you guys. Otherwise, I absolutely would. But yeah, that's my fail for the week. Not only is my laser dead, but my replacement tube is shattered. So fun stuff. But that's all I got for you guys today. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of these fails. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. They've got an ice dragon that's getting a little shifty, and while you might want to get a little swift, oh God, I can't do that. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Right below me will be the entire PrintFixFriday series, so you can get caught up on how to fix your shit one video at a time. And right next to that will be our previous intellectual property talk with Seth Polanski. You should go click that one. I think you'll like it. I'll see you all down in the comments and in the next one. Take care.